Welcome to the True Assassins podcast. You know, we've got some really creepy stories for you today from Orlando Madsbrine's True Assassins. We're going deep into the world of contract killers. And, well, you guys sent these in. You really wanted to hear about these cases. So get ready, because today we're going to see what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted.
Yeah, it's all about control, right? These guys, these assassins, they need control. Their whole lives revolve around it. But what happens when they lose it? That's what makes these cases so fascinating and honestly so terrifying.
For sure. Let's dive into the first case from Madsbrine's book. It's called The Snare, and it's about this assassin named Flynn. But get this, he's not your typical hitman. This guy is a cynic, like a professional skeptic, and he specifically targets fake psychics and mediums.
Oh, wow, that's a wild combo. Talk about irony, right? He's all about exposing illusions, but his entire life is an illusion. Madsbrine really nails Flynn's personality. He's got this intellectual superiority complex going on. He doesn't just kill these people, he looks down on them. Thinks they're all idiots.
Yeah, exactly. He sees himself as some kind of vigilante taking out these predators who prey on the grieving. In his mind, he's doing the world a favor. So his latest target is this grieving widow who's going to a séance. And the way Madsbrine describes the setting, it's almost suffocating. This room filled with the smell of grief and cheap perfume. You can practically feel the desperation in the air.
Right, that atmosphere is crucial. It's like this blurry space between reality and illusion. And that makes Flynn's experience even more shocking. The room is already charged with emotion and anticipation of the supernatural. It's like the perfect setup for something truly unsettling to happen.
Totally. So Flynn's watching the séance, and he's getting more and more annoyed. It's also predictable. The tricks, the theatrics, it's all an insult to his intelligence. Here's this cold-blooded killer who thinks he's too smart to be fooled by these cheap parlor tricks.
But that's where Madsbrine throws us a curveball. Flynn, the ultimate rationalist, the guy who thinks he's debunked everything supernatural, he's about to encounter something that completely shatters his worldview.
And the way it happens is so creepy. It starts subtly, like icy fingers brushing against people, whispers coming from nowhere. But then the whispers start to sound like accusations. And then this line just cuts through the silence. Ghosts weren't real, were they, Mr. Flynn?
Chilling, right?
Yeah.
That one question, it just destroys Flynn's carefully constructed reality. Suddenly his gun, his symbol of control, his tool of the trade, it's completely useless. Madsbrine describes it as a slaughterhouse of the soul. And that's such a powerful image. This isn't a physical attack. It's a psychological annihilation.
Exactly. And these aren't your typical ghosts either. Madsbrine describes them as echoes, fragments of Flynn's victims. They're not there to physically harm him. They're there to make him face his guilt. And the widow's reaction is so interesting. She's sobbing, but is it relief? Is she happy to connect with her loved ones, or is there something darker there, like a sense of twisted justice?
That ambiguity is what makes it so unsettling. Did she somehow subconsciously summon these vengeful spirits? Is she an innocent mourner, or did she play a part in Flynn's torment? We don't know.
And what follows is Flynn's breakdown. He's not running from the cops. He's running from these ghosts. Madsbrine really captures the terror of it. The nightmares, the feeling of being constantly watched and judged. The world he thought he understood, it's gone. And he's trapped in this terrifying new reality.
And he can't even tell anyone about it. Can you imagine trying to explain to someone that you're being haunted by the ghosts of your victims? He'd be locked up in an asylum. So he's completely alone in this.
And it all culminates with his final assignment. He's supposed to kill a senator. But as he's looking at the file, he realizes something terrifying. This senator is just another name on a list of his victims. And he finally understands. He's trapped. This spectral chain, it's tightening around him, and he chooses suicide.
It's a bleak ending. But the question is, was it really a choice? Or was he driven to it?
Yeah.
The detail about the faces drawn on his hand, it's so disturbing. Was he trying to understand these forces that were consuming him? Did he finally acknowledge the reality denied for so long?
It's such a messed up irony, right? He spent his life silencing others, and now he's joined them. His disbelief, his cynicism, it became his prison. And Madsbrine even suggests that Flynn might be trapped in some kind of spectral loop, forced to relive his crimes over and over again.
It's a powerful message about the consequences of our actions. Some things can't be silenced even by death. Flynn tried to control everything. He thought he was above it all. But in the end, his actions created this ripple effect that he could never escape.
All right, so let's move on to the second case. This one is called No Safe Haven, and it's about this hitman named Elias. Now, Elias is the complete opposite of Flynn. This guy is all about order and control, especially when it comes to his safe houses. Madsbrine goes into detail about how meticulous he is. These safe houses, they weren't just hideouts, they were like his personal fortresses.
It's like these safe houses represented his need for control in a physical way. Everything had its place. Everything was planned. He was trying to eliminate any possibility of surprise or chaos, but as we'll see that rigidity, it becomes his biggest weakness.
Yeah, the first signs that something is wrong, they're subtle, like a sudden chill in the air or dust out of place, things that most people wouldn't even notice. But Elias, he notices. And at first he tries to brush it off as paranoia. You know, the life of a hitman, it comes with a certain level of anxiety.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
He's so used to being in control that the idea of something happening outside of his control, it's terrifying to him. It threatens his whole identity.
But then things start to get weirder. The lock on his gun cabinet, it starts sticking. He has these disturbing dreams, vague shapes and whispers that he can't quite remember when he wakes up. And Madsbrine mentions how he starts cleaning his guns obsessively, like it's a ritual to regain some sense of control.
That cleaning it becomes almost symbolic. He's trying to impose order on this world that's starting to feel increasingly disordered. And the contrast between his outward calm and his growing inner panic, it creates this really unsettling feeling.
And then the incidents become more overt. Files are out of order, knives are placed in weird spots, and at first he thinks it's a rival messing with him, trying to get in his head. But the way Madsbrine describes it, it feels different, like it's something more sinister.
Definitely. It's like these incidents are designed to specifically target his sense of order, to make him doubt his own sanity. It's like something is toying with him.
And then it gets really creepy. He finds his gun completely disassembled and locked inside a drawer. The cleaning supplies are arranged in this bizarre pattern. This isn't just a prank. This is a violation. It's like someone is mocking him.
Oh, yeah. At this point, his paranoia must be going through the roof. The level of intrusion, the way it's also deliberate and taunting, it's like something is trying to break him.
So he does what he knows how to do. He sets traps,
Yeah.
but they never get triggered. Then his cash stash gets rearranged in these weird patterns. It's like this thing is playing games with him, so he gets desperate. He moves to a new safe house, one that's even more secure.
But it doesn't matter. Whatever is haunting him, it follows him. It's not tied to a specific place. It's like it's attached to him somehow. All his attempts to control the situation, they just backfire.
And then the threat becomes physical. Razors are moved near him while he sleeps. The gas stove is tampered with. Suddenly, his safe houses are death traps. It's the ultimate irony. The hunter has become the hunted in his own sanctuary.
His entire world is collapsing around him. The things he relied on for safety, they've become weapons against him. He's facing this unknown force, this entity that he can't understand or control.
So he sets up cameras everywhere. He needs to know what he's dealing with. But the footage is even more disturbing. Objects moving on their own. His reflection in the mirror twisting and distorting. It's like something out of a horror movie.
Madsbrine really leaves it open to interpretation. Is it a ghost? Is it some kind of technology we don't understand? Or is it all in Elias's head? Is his mind finally breaking under the pressure?
In a last-ditch effort, he barricades himself in his most secure room. He's got weapons everywhere, but it's not his usual precise setup. Madsbrine describes it as chaotic, he's desperate, he's facing an enemy he can't see or understand.
And it's heartbreaking because Elias, the master planner, the guy who always had a contingency, he's completely outmatched. All his skills, all his planning, it's useless against this unseen force.
The climax is pure chaos, lights flickering, things moving on their own. And then the ultimate irony, he trips over his own tripwire, a trap he set to protect himself, and it takes him down.
It's a poetic ending in a way. All his precautions, all his planning, it backfires. He becomes a victim of his own need for control.
And the final twist is the gas leak. A detail from earlier, something he probably dismissed as unimportant, and that's what ends up killing him. His own meticulousness, it led to his destruction.
It's a powerful message about the dangers of trying to control everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes the things we try so hard to avoid, they end up being our downfall.
What's crazy is that they never found a body, just a burned-out room. So the rumors started flying. Did he escape? Did someone else kill him? Madsbrine doesn't give us a definitive answer, but it's heavily implied that he died in that fire, a victim of his own obsession with control.
So we have these two assassins, Flynn and Elias, both obsessed with control in their own ways, and both ultimately destroyed by the things they couldn't control. It makes you wonder, what's scarier, the ghosts and poltergeists and the monsters we create within ourselves?
What do you guys think? Did Flynn's cynicism attract the supernatural? Was Elias's need for order his fatal flaw? Let us know your theories. And don't forget to rate and follow the True Assassins podcast for more bone-chilling stories from the dark world of murder hitmen assassins. What other terrifying possibilities might be lurking out there, just waiting to ensnare those who think they're in control?
Until next time, be careful out there.
Yeah.
You never know what they might be watching.